Use two-factor or multi-factor authentication, for example using CAPTCHA to prevent automated attack. Secure and control physical access to system to prevent offline password attack. Ensure that the password database file are encrypted and accessible only to system administrator. Mask the display of password on the screen to avoid shoulder surfing attack. Vulnerability exploitation. Vulnerability exploitation involves the execution of multiple complex interrelated steps to gain access to remote system. The steps involved are: first, identify the vulnerability. 2. Determine the risk associated with vulnerability. Number 3. Determine the capability of the vulnerability. Number 4. Develop the exploit. Number 5. Select the method for delivering, local or remote. Number 6. Generate and deliver the payload. Number 7. Gain remote access. Buffer overflow. A buffer is an area of adjacent memory allocated to a program or application to handle its runtime data. Buffer overflow or overrun is a common vulnerability is an application or program that accepts more data than the allocated buffer. This vulnerability allows the application to exceed the buffer while writing data to the buffer and overwrite neighboring memory location. Attacker exploit buffer overflow vulnerability to inject malicious code into the buffer to damage file, modify program data, access critical information, escalate privilege, and gain shell access. Why are program and application vulnerable to the buffer overflow? This is because of lack of boundary checking, using older version of programming language, using unsafe and vulnerable function, lack of good programming practice, failing to set proper filtering and validation principle, executing code present a stack segment, improper memory allocation, and insufficient input sanitization. Privilege escalation. Attacker can gain access to the network using non-admin user account, and the next step should be to gain administrative privilege. The attacker perform a privilege escalation attack that take advantage of design flaw, programming error, bug, and configuration oversight in operating system and software application to gain administrative access to the network and its associated application. The privilege allow the attacker to view critical or sensitive information, delete file, or install malicious programs such as virus, trojan, and worm. Type of privilege escalation. We have horizontal privilege escalation. It refers to acquiring the same privilege that have already been granted by assuming the identity of another user with the same privilege. Vertical privilege escalation refers to gaining higher privilege than those existing. This example of attacker and user. Privilege escalating by exploiting vulnerability. Attacker exploit software vulnerability by taking advantage of programming flaws in a program, service, or within the operating system, software, or kernel to execute malicious code. Exploiting software vulnerability allows the attacker to execute a command or binary on the target machine to gain higher privilege to those existing or to bypass security mechanism. Attacker using this exploit can access privileged user account and credential. Attacker search for exploit based on the operating system and software application on exploit site such as security focus and exploit database. This example of the exploit database. How to defend against privilege escalation? Restrict the interactive logon privilege. Number 2, run user application with the lowest privilege. Number 3, implement multi-factor authentication and authorization. Number 4, run service as unprivileged account. Number 5, implement privilege separation methodology to limit the scope of programming error and bug. Number 6, use an encryption technique to protect sensitive data. Number 7, reduce the amount of code that runs with particular privilege. Number 8, perform debugging using bound checker and stress test. Number 9, test the system for application code error and bug thoroughly. Number 10, regularly patch and update the kernel. Number 11, change the user account control setting to always notified. Number 12, restrict user from writing file to the search path for application. 13, continuously monitor the file system information using auditing tool. 14, reduce the privilege of user and group so that only legitimate administrator can make service charge. 15, use whitelisting to identify and block malicious software. 16, use fully qualified path in all Windows application. 17, ensure that all executables are placed in right protect directory. 18, in Mac operating system, make list file read only. Block unwanted system utilize all software that may be used to schedule asset. Lastly, regularly patch and update the web server. Executing application. When attacker execute a malicious application is called owning the system. The attacker execute malicious program remotely in a victim machine to gather information that lead to exploitation or loss privacy. Gain authorized access to the system resource and crack the password. Capture the screenshot. Install backdoor to maintain easy access. Malicious program that execute on the target system such as keylogger, backdoor, spyware, and cracker. Keylogger. Keystroke logger are program or hardware device that monitor each keystroke as the user type on the keyboard, log into the file, or transmit them to the remote location. Legitimate application for the keylogger include in offline and industrial setting to monitor employee computer activity and the home environment where the parent can monitor and spy on children activity. It allows the attacker to gather confidential information about the victim such as email ID, password, banking detail, chat room activity, IRC, and instant message. Physical keylogger are placed between keyboard hardware and then operating system. This is example of the keylogger. Type of keystroke keylogger. We have keystroke logger. Under keystroke keylogger, we have hardware keystroke logger and software keylogger. This example of hardware keylogger is look like a USB drive. Spyware. Spyware is a stealthy program that records the user interaction with the computer and internet without the user knowledge and send it information to remote attacker. Spyware hide in process, file and other objects in order to avoid detection and removal. It's like a Trojan horse, which usually bundled as a hidden component of freeware program that can be available on the internet for download. It allows the attacker to gather information about the victim organization such as email address, user login, password, credit card number, and banking credential. Spyware propagation, drive by download. Number 2, masquerade anti-spyware. Number 3, web browser vulnerability exploit. Number 4, piggyback software installation. Number 5, browser add-on. Number 6, cookies. This example of software tool, we have desktop and child monitoring spyware. We have also USB spyware, and we also have audio spyware. How to defend the keylogger? Number 1, use pop-up blocker and avoid opening junk email. Number 2, install anti-spyware antivirus program and keep the signature up to date. Number 3, install professional firewall software and anti-keylogging software. Number 4, recognize phishing email and delete them. Number 5, regularly update and patch system hardware. Number 6, do not click on link in an unwanted or doubtful email that may point to malicious site. Number 7, use keystroke interference software which insert randomized character into every keystroke. Number 8, scan the file before installing and use registry editor or process explorer to check for keylogger. Number 9, use the window on screen keyboard accessibility utility to enter the password or any other confidential information. Number 10, install a host-based IDS which can monitor your system and disable the installation of keylogger. 11, use an automatic form filling password manager or virtual keylogger to enter your username and password. Number 12, use software that frequently scan and monitor the chain on system or network.